we are moving into chapter 6 of High Impact Life. Chapter 6 is, gosh, I probably say this about every chapter, but it's my favorite chapter. Fighting in your own armor, fight in your own armor, making the most of the gifts God has given you. So let's talk about the questions that I have for developing your game plan. Number 1, what are some of the characteristics that make you you? These could be personality traits, values, areas of interest, or life experiences. How do these things affect your approach to life in general and to your calling more specifically? Wow. I want this to be a time of reflection. And if you need to hit pause and make some notes, please do so. But I really would love for you to focus on what is it that makes you you? What are those things? The personality, things about your personality. Are you extroverted? Are you introverted? Are you funny? Are you more of a deep thinker? Are you lighthearted? Are you a free spirit? Are you more serious and a rule follower? What are those things? Those are great clues to you. And I want you to embrace those things. So much of what we see right now, especially with social media, is this comparison game. We compare ourselves to how other people look and think and act and what they do with their lives. And that's so dangerous. We can admire other people or learn or maybe laugh about people that are funny or that have different types of personalities than we do, maybe that make us laugh or inspire us or make us kind of think about ourselves. But the worst thing we can do is compare and say, well, I wish I was more this, I wish I was more that. You were born the way you are for a purpose. Think about that. You were, I used to think when I was growing up, I was so super quiet. And I felt I beat myself up all the time about that. I'm like, Kelly, come on, speak up. Like, talk louder, speak up for yourself, go out and make friends. And I was so quiet and so sensitive. But it's interesting because a lot of the traits that I was born with, I saw them as negatives, but really they made me who I am. I'm told that part of why, by my mentors, part of why I am able to help so many people and serve so many people is because of this thing called emotional intelligence. Well, I didn't know what that was, but emotional intelligence is developed when you're sensitive to others, how others feel and how others respond. And yeah, that for me, not everybody is wired the same way I am, but that's okay. And I'm wired differently, but that doesn't mean I'm a lesser person. God made me the way I am for a reason. And he made you exactly the way you are for a reason. Again, I'm not saying you don't grow and develop and learn over time, but you were born with the traits to be the person that you are supposed to be for your calling. And so stop comparing yourself. Stop saying you wish you were more like somebody else. You're exactly how you're supposed to be. And even the experiences you go through in life and the things that you learn and the traits that you end up taking on after being around people. I would encourage you, the more books you can read, and the more people you can learn from, the more you can truly become the best version of who you were created to be. Number 2, reflect on Romans 12, 6 through 8. And let's read that. Before I go into the rest of the question, let's read what Romans 12, 6 through 8 has to say. This is King James. Having then gifts differing according to the grace that is given to us, whether prophecy, let us prophesy according to the proportion of our faith, or ministry, let us wait on our ministering, or he that teacheth on teaching, or he that exhorteth on exhortation. He that giveth, let him do with simplicity. He that ruleth with diligence. He that showeth mercy with cheerfulness. See, even God's word, God's promises tells us that everybody has different callings. Everyone has different traits and giftings and personalities. And that's on purpose. Lean into that. Whatever it is that you are, you're supposed to be. So lean into that, develop that, hone that, and appreciate that God made you exactly how you're supposed to be for your own gifts. So let's see what the rest of the question says. Why do you think God gave different gifts to different people? How are our families, jobs, or communities strengthened by these varied gifts and approaches? Strengths and approaches. We can't all have the same gifts. We can't have all the same strengths. I learned that in building my own company. Initially, it was just me. And it was very clear what I was good at and what I was terrible at. And I had to realize I can't be great at everything. I'm not supposed to be all things to all people. We're all given different gifts and strengths and callings and perspectives. And it really is in letting go of having to do everything perfectly and knowing that other people, we are equipped to do what we are called to do in our strengths and operate in those strengths. And we are expected to not just operate in a vacuum by ourselves, but in community with other people who have different callings and different strengths and different perspectives. And those things make us better. They really, really do. It takes all of us and all of our different callings to come together and do life. Number 3, in what areas are you tempted to fight in someone else's armor? Ooh, that's good. By doing something the way you feel you're supposed to, rather than the way that feels right for you. Conversely, can you identify any times in your life when you realized that your unique approach to a given task was particularly effective? How can an experience like that affirm who God has made you to be? I want you to think about your life. And I can think back over, I've shared some in the book of some ways that I realized I was just wired differently than other people. And when I tried to be someone else, when I tried to take on someone else's own way of doing things or the way they spoke or the way they dealt with a situation, it just didn't work for me. That is true for all of us. We are all wired to handle things a certain way, to do things a certain way. And again, there's always growth and development. But my goodness, be yourself. You are equipped and given great gifts by God to fulfill what you are called to do. And you do not need to try to do things the way someone else would do them because you think that's the way you're supposed to do it. As long as you are pressing in and asking God to direct your steps and teach you how to do what you are called to do, as long as you are on a personal track of growth, you need to stay on that track, not jump over and try to do what someone else is doing because it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. You need to fight in your own armor. And if you haven't already read that chapter about fighting in your own armor and what that refers to and what that means, go read it. It will absolutely blow your mind and change your perspective on yourself and on life. Number 4, how do you think God has equipped you for what he is calling you to do? How can you fight in your own armor with some of the challenges you're facing right now? Take a moment to think about what aspects of your past experiences, your personality, or your talents might have prepared you for what's ahead. I'm going to end this lesson right now and let you spend the next few minutes digging into that. What does your own armor look like? What are the things that you have personally experienced that have equipped you with life lessons, with wisdom, with strengths that you can now use to fulfill what God has called you to do with your life, and how he has equipped you to impact the world around you, the people in your life, the people in your community, the world. Take that time right now and describe, what does your armor look like? What has your life prepared you to do? And enjoy that process.